And just when you thought we were going to have an uneventful weekend, after years of Trump not going to it, Trump finally decides to attend the White House Correspondents Dinner. And what happens? We have another knucklehead ruining the party by quickly breaking through the security checkpoint, causing the dinner to be canceled early, and ending up like this, like they so often do. But let's get into it. I'm going to play the video of the shooting so you can see what was going on in real time, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so now I'm going to play the video of what happened in real time and how they responded to it. Now, when the video begins, listen closely, and you'll hear 6 gunshots in quick succession. So listen to that, and then you'll see the aftermath. All right, here we go. There go the shots. Everyone looks. The president and them don't even know what's going on. And now you can start seeing they're alerting them. People getting placed. Secret Service is now getting positioned. You'll see them come out with their rifles from backstage. Boom. Covering the president. Now start moving him out. Now here it is, starting over again. Now that was what was going on inside the banquet room itself while they're having dinner. Now I'm going to go ahead and play the clip of what was happening outside where the actual shots were occurring. And that's near the foyer area where there's a checkpoint, a security checkpoint before you're allowed to go in and go up to that level where they're at. So let's go ahead and play that. So just for context, here's the checkpoint here. It's blurry so you can't tell. And this is a split screen. So this guy is the same as this gentleman right here. Here's the security checkpoint. They're coming in. This is where you walk in. You've got one person at a table who's probably putting his keys in there or something like that before he goes through the metal detector here. There's one person here. There's another person here. And there's 1 or 2 people coming through the metal detector. There's this gentleman here, this gentleman here. So if you count, and let's be very conservative, there's 1, 2, 3, at least 4 and 5 police officers or law enforcement that are here at this checkpoint, a minimum. That's right in this immediate area. Not sure what the count is in here, not sure who's who here, but there's at least another, 2 or 3 people up in this area. Just not sure if they're all law enforcement. You're going to see the assailant come from this area here. He's going to round this turn and start running towards the checkpoint. All right, let's go. There he goes there. And boom, right past him. Now they're firing at him. Now what I don't know is when did the assailant shoot? He came through, he had a shotgun, a handgun, and some knives. Supposedly he shot the shotgun and he hit one of the officers. We don't know exactly when that happened. I'm sure they're gonna go ahead and release that at some point. But as much as I'm a big fan and a supporter of law enforcement, this was the most ridiculous tactics I've ever seen. It failed for me. Now obviously he didn't make it all the way through, so ultimately they succeeded, but he obviously got through their front line. And that should have never happened. There's too many bodies right there for one person just to be able to run past them, firing a shot or not. Now remember, these aren't just regular law enforcement. These are Secret Service. They are trained to fire when they hear gunshots. It doesn't stop them from shooting. When they hear gunshots, it doesn't stop them from running and doing what they need to do as far as getting in way of the shooter. That's what they're trained to do. But there was a breakdown here because nobody actually went towards the gunman as he was running through that checkpoint. And we'll play it again. And just for context, this is where that checkpoint was at. This is that corner he probably came around and where he really started turning on the speed and came through here. And this is where he passed everybody. And like I said, they did actually stop him. So he never made it up these stairs to get where everyone was at. But at the same token, I mean, luckily he just had a gun. Imagine if he had something like a suicide vest. What if there was more than one? What if there were 6 people? What if they had one person in each of these elevators come down and 8 people came out of this bay and did the same thing? And they tackled one, but where were the other 7, right? It could have been really nasty. Luckily, this is just one guy and he had a gun, not a suicide vest. So it was limited exposure to what was going to happen. With that being said, let's keep playing this out. So now that you see, oops, sorry about that. Now that you see where he was at and you see what that looks like on an overhead layout, now let's look at this video again. So here's that corner. I said he came around right here. So now keep in mind, now watch the people now again. Now imagine this being a football team and here's their line, right? And you don't want the defender, you don't want the offense to get past here, and you're the defense. He's got 1, 2, 3. You'll see one person right here, and you'll see at least one person right here. These other, you can see like little heads here, 1, 2, and 3. But let's assume these aren't law enforcement, although I'm pretty certain that at least 1, maybe 2 of them are. But let's say they're not. That would still leave us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 law enforcement right here that we can see. There's some that are off camera, but we'll just say the ones we can see in the immediate area. Now they should be watching this hallway, right? So they would see him running and coming. All right, let's play. Here he comes. Does anyone step in his path? No, this person steps back, gets his weapon. This person is just standing still. This person leans back a little bit. These don't respond. This guy right here doesn't respond at all. Let's play. Let's keep going. Now this person takes a step back, as you see. Now he's dodging him. This person right here, this is his arm. He's taking his gun out to shoot. He shouldn't shoot because right now this guy's in the line of fire. If he shoots and misses, he's going to hit this officer right here. So we'll find out if that's how he got shot or not. But so he's ducking back. He's pulling his weapon out to shoot. Not sure what this gentleman here is doing. This person's still sitting. You'll see them move in just a second. Watch. See, he pops up. Now he's up. But he was sitting down all the way until this person passed this agent over here. He's totally out of the shots. He's not even in this shot. And that's when he pops up out of his chair. So I'm not really impressed. Here they are now shooting at him. Not sure if the assailant was shot or not. Here's all the other agents rushing in through the doors. They're coming from different areas because they heard the gunshots. You know, we've had a lot of scrutiny of law enforcement over the past year, really the past 10 years. People feel like law enforcement just wants to shoot people, that they're out to just be violent, that they violate people's rights. If this is not an example of how law enforcement actually doesn't have a killer instinct, I don't know what does. Because as I just shared with you and I showed you in real time, nobody attacked him when they saw him running up to the security checkpoint. They really should have tackled him down or shot him down, one of the two. Obviously, it'd be better if they feel like they could tackle him. However, he did have a shotgun in his hand, so that would have been a very dangerous move. But as I shared, Secret Service agents are trained to still respond even though someone has a weapon, even though they're firing a weapon. They're especially trained for those types of scenarios because of the types of people that they're guarding. They have to be willing to still respond and move towards a shooter. If the shooter is shooting, it really wouldn't matter. They would still be moving towards them and they would still be putting their body between the shooter and wherever they're trying to protect. So I'll stand by that this is the biggest piece of evidence we can see that law enforcement is not out to create these fatal injuries and fatally wound people and deny people their rights. Because if they did, this person right here, he would not have ended up like this. He wouldn't have ended up like this at all. But see, when you look at this photo right here, it doesn't look like he went through that much. Now, maybe he did. I'm not sure if he even has a bullet wound or anything like that, but it sure heck doesn't look like it. So if I'm a crazy lunatic terrorist type person, I see him, and that's not a big deterrent. He's alive. He's just laying there. He's got his eyes closed, but he's fine. but he doesn't look like he has any wounds or any injuries right here. If they don't want to use their firearms to put down the threats, that's okay. They have to have the techniques, a level of intensity and commitment to the mission of taking the threat down physically that, like I said, would make any would-be copycat pause and rethink that twice. They need to be like the Terry Tate of Secret Service people if they don't want to use lethal weapons and cause fatal injuries because of that. And if you don't know who Terry Tate is, I'm going to play this clip for you real quick. He could tell you about it.
There is no one more deserving of OSPN's Office Athlete of the Century
What does it take,
award
Terry?
than Terry Tate, Office Linebacker.
Look, man, there ain't no secret to success in business or in life. The solution is simple, baby. 100% hard, all day, every day.
All day.
Only quitters quit, and Triple T is a hitter, not a quitter. Believe
How should Secret Service do it? Boom. There it is. There it is. That's how they should have treated him at that checkpoint. Ah! Jump in there. Get in his way. Put your body in between him and where he's going. You see what I'm saying? Now that's how they should have treated him. When he came around this corner right here, I'm teasing a little bit and making it a little bit light, but I'm not. When he's coming down this hallway right here running, these people right here, if they're not going to take out their firearms, then they need to get their bodies in front of him. Period, paragraph. Now, there's a lot of reasons why men nowadays aren't as aggressive as people in my generation. In my generation, if we standing right there, trust me, a Secret Service person, someone in law enforcement, somebody who's ex-military, we'd have had a body coming his way. We'd have got in his way, and we would have just went ahead and took that blow. But here he comes down this hallway. Nobody gets in his way. They get out of his way. That don't look like Terry Tate at all. That ain't Terry Tate would have put these guys to shame. They're firing at him. I'm really perplexed because, like I said, they fired so many times at him, but he looks like this. So did they miss every time? Does he have some kind of wound that we're not aware of? I mean, he looks in pretty good shape. Like I said, he is not a deterrent. A deterrent would be, and when the camera cuts to him, if he looked like Martin did in that episode of Martin, when Martin disrespected and challenged Tommy Hitman Hearns to a fight, and then he ended up looking like this. So now see that now that's a deterrent. Now see, if he'd looked like that, I would have said we getting our money's worth with that Secret Service, man. Keep up the good work. Matter of fact, give them a bonus and an extra vacation for the year on us, because that's a deterrent right there. But that guy, he was looking like, yeah, he got busted, but other than his shirt being torn, he's fine. He's gonna walk in. He's actually gonna be able to walk to the car. He don't need to be carried. He's not gonna be lumped up like this. That's what he should have looked like, because there's no way in heck he should have been able to cut this corner and made this entire run all the way to here before anybody stopped him. Now, luckily, even though he did bust through the defensive line, they did stop him before he got up the steps. So ultimately, the security worked. However, I know for a fact their game plan is not to let somebody run past here armed, because like I said, he was one person. What if there were 6 of them? What if it was 3 of them? What if he had on a suicide vest? Anything could have happened. They don't want you to get past here with weapons. He did bust through that line. They didn't do a Terry Tate. And ultimately, he did get caught, and we're happy about that. For us regular citizens that are out here doing all the work and we're watching this on TV, we learned some stuff. We learned that the tactics of our law enforcement, even at the highest level that are supposed to protect the President of the United States himself, these tactics lack the real and primal instinct to attack physically when there's a threat. We also saw that when guns are used, they obviously aren't focused on inflicting a fatal injury. So we learned that about law enforcement. We also learned that college grads can be just as stupid and just as violent as those who don't even have a high school diploma. We also learned that we even have to be aware of our teachers and those who are tutors to our kids, because this guy is a teacher or tutor or both. But as I shared with you already, one of the biggest things that we learned that our law enforcement need a healthy dose of testosterone. So when it comes time for close quarter incidents, they will automatically go into Terry Tate mode and get the foot up that ass. And until the next time, peace.